What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, AQUA Life Baby, you already know. And I'm here to do a deck profile on a deck that really annoys me, especially as an Aqua Force player. My brother's Big Bang Brawler Stride deck. This deck is one of the best decks in the game right now. It is a really heavy counter to a lot of the best decks in the format, as noted by, its, multiple tops and wins at the ARG tournaments. Royals, Shadows, Kagero, or not even Kagero, Royals, Shadows, Aqua Force, Great Nature, and yeah, even Kagero sometimes. Need cards on their field, to function generally, and this deck literally punches them out of the water, no pun intended, with Aqua Force. This deck's actually been pretty pricey as of recently. This guy's about $25, and the deck is pretty much well over $150 in total cost now. So, glad we picked these up when they were cheap and no one really paid attention to them. So, let's get into the deck profile. Alright, so starting off, my brother, he runs Spark Kid Dragoon. So what Spark Kid Dragoon does is he's just a grade 3 searcher. We want to search out those Big Bang Knuckle Busters to ride, and we do want to search out those Big Bang Knuckle Dragons to throw into the soul to cross ride and punch a field. That's one of the main objectives of this deck, is getting that cross ride off and punching a field in the process. Again, the cross ride helps with defensive options, tremendously. Alright, 4 heal, it's just really literally just a standard trigger line. 4 heal, 4 draw, and 8 crit. We run Malevolent Djinn because this deck doesn't really counterblast brawlers. And so what this guy does is, he's a Margot clone. Ghost and Soul gives 3k to something. He's good because he helps with Rising Phoenix combo plays and Big Bang Knuckle Turbo combos, because those are the cards that use Soul in this deck. And, when you find yourself not wanting to Soul Blast your Cross Ride, this guy, oh, he's in Soul. We threw him in early game or whoever it is, late game. It's like, okay, great. We don't have to lose our Cross Ride. So this is definitely a really good trigger to have. Alright guys, so for grade 1s, we play 4 copies of Mighty Bolt Dragoon. He's just a stride enabler. Since this is a stride deck, this deck is pretty versatile with the units that you can run. This guy is a really good option. 3 copies of Kome. Now he's the drop and draw if your opponent has a grade, has 1 rear guard in the front row or less. Sorry, I was getting the wording mixed up. We're going to change him to the 10k attacker or that 11k attacker grade 1 GB1 card. Can't think of his name right now, but drop drawing to filter is still good to get you to your units that we need to get to, but we want to take a little bit more of an aggressive route in this deck, so it is going to probably change. 4 copies of Old School Perfect Guards. Reason why we run that is because with the we do want to run the G Perfect Guards, but right now we have these. The G Perfect Guards are another safe option to run, at least in my meta, because we don't face the Cross or, Laurel a lot of the times. And generally those are the only units that you generally fear when when selecting your Perfect Guards. But, since I and Juan Mango are like the only Cross players, and I usually play Aqua Force every week anyways, it's not really needed. And 2... Blazing Phoenix, or Rising Phoenix, excuse me. Rising Phoenix, just Soul Blast 2 draw. Really good card to, plus, get cards to your hand, set up for Legion. And again, Malevolent Djinn helps this card out a lot more. Alright, on to grade 2. Sorry guys, been doing a lot of deck profiles today. We have 4 copies of Big Bang / Dragon. So what Big Bang / Dragon is if you're a unit with Brawler hits, he gets 3k. So when you do the field hit thing, the effect does stack, so he'll gain a lot more power. So this is definitely a good card, and he's a Legion mate to Big Bang Knuckle Dragon. And we have Big Bang / Buster. So he's a Legion mate to the main grade 3 you want to ride, Big Bang Knuckle Buster. But what he does is he's also an 11k attacker if you have a Vanguard with Big Bang in his name. And he also has the other effect like Big Bang / Dragon of if your Vanguard with Brawler hits, he gains 3k. So he's probably the better one of the two. And he's just a good card overall. 2 copies of Sky Howl Dragon. What Sky Howl does is when you call him to the rear guard circle, you counterblast 1. If you have a Brawler Vanguard, pop a card in your opponent's front row. Good for making your opponent pay for rushing you. Gets rid of those problem cards that you don't feel like wasting time on attacking, like Silent Tom and Tidal and Magnum and things like that. So definitely just a really nice card in the deck. And then we have 2 copies of Demonic Dragon Berserker Chitora. I like this card a lot. So it can't attack a rear guard, but when it attacks a Vanguard, it gains 3k, and if it hits, you counterblast 1, draw a card, and bind it an opponent's unit in their drop zone. So he's one of those cards that helps, you know, plus to your hand and kill off something that they could have used for Legion. So this deck's actually really good. This card is actually really good against the cross, and we would probably play more if the cross was like really that big, or other Legion decks were really that big. But right now this guy is doing well. We might bump him up because you could definitely bump him up by taking out this one of the Slash Dragons. But right now this is, you know, this grade 2 lineup is pretty balanced and is working out nicely. All right, grade 3. Alright guys, so for grade 3 we have Big Bang Knuckle Dragon. He's the card you don't want to ride. You want him in the soul, but you don't really want to ride him. So what he does is you counterblast 2 units with Brawler. He gains 5k and can attack your opponent's front row. And his other thing is Soul Blast 1 to gain 3k. So he helps set up for Legion if you do have to ride him. And he does wipe your opponent's front row, but again, you don't want to ride him at all. But this guy you do want to ride. That's why we're on the grade 3 searcher. Big Bang Knuckle Buster. So when this guy's in the soul, Big Bang Knuckle Dragon, he's at 13k. And what you do is, it's an act ability. You counterblast 1, throw 1 of these 2 units, Big Bang Buster or Dragon, into the soul, and he gains 5k, and he can hit 4 units on your opponent's side of the field. So you can hit 4 rear guards if you're feeling that way, or Vanguard and 3 other rear guards. So definitely a great unit. All right, let's get into the Stride deck. All right, guys. So for Stride units, pretty straightforward. 2 Zoras. If it hits, you retire something, and then you choose 2 cards in your drop zone and bind it. Really good against Legion decks. Remove and play them triggers, them Legion mates, copies of the End, the Cross. Just a really good card in general against those decks. 2 copies of the Big Bang Knuckle Turbo. So what he does is you counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and you can flip one of your G units over. So you can flip him over, or Conquest over, but you don't want to ever do Conquest. And he can, you know, attack, 3 cards for each heart card. So when you're in Legion, he can attack all 6 cards on your opponent's side of the field. Literally, he told you, he hits the entire field. He'll field wipe. And when you have another one of him flipped over, he gains like 5k. So it's a good unit. It's not a unit that you definitely want to run at 4, because you're already punching the field with your with this guy, with your Legion, and this guy is there just for some extra field clearing. So he's he's a pretty good unit, and you can use him twice if you need to. Otherwise, you can just use him once to get that nice field wipe, and then try and get your advantage from there. And then last but not least is Conquest Dragon. This card is like really good. This is the card that Narcomies needed for their explosion. This is what creates their explosion turn. So all you do is flip a copy of himself over, and if you have 2 or more units face up, you get to pop a rear guard in the front row, and then your entire front row gains plus 5k. Now, if you do use this skill, and let's say you got yourself a Sky Howl. Let's say you use his skill first, and you pop something in their front row. Then you call Sky Howl, pop another thing in the front row. The Sky Howl is not going to be at 10k, because with the conditioning and with the ability, it's only going to give the rear guards 5k for each one open for its ability. It's not like a continuous ability like what was it? Tempest Bolt is. It's not a continuous ability like his is. So you definitely want to get their front row clear before you use his ability if possible. Other than that, he creates a lot of pressure with the other big cards, and he does hit, you know, the other big cards, you know, get a little bit more power, and you go from there. So this has been my brother's Big Bang deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Look forward to some more deck profiles and everything coming up. All right, Cardfight King, we out. Aqua Life, baby.